In today's episode, we will take a look at the different types of flat serves, the characteristics of skidding and dead balls, and how to receive a serve in a way that will not give your opponent an advantage. Watch this video until the end and you'll learn how to receive serves in a way that will make your opponent struggle, understand many of your own mistakes, and find out why the ball bounces off the edge or falls into the net. Additionally, we'll learn how to visually identify what kind of ball is coming toward us. And as a bonus, at the end of the video, I'll tell you about an unconventional way to receive a flat serve that will definitely throw your opponent off. My name is Ivan Tolmachev and this is a channel about table tennis. Here you'll find a lot of useful information that will significantly improve your game. Before you continue watching, make sure to subscribe. Let's get started. How much pain does receiving serves cause? Especially when an experienced amateur plays against a beginner. The show Intuition begins. Your opponent gives you a smug look and serves a complicated ball, after which you don't even want to play table tennis anymore. We outplay our opponent but fail to return 5 or 6 serves in a match, and the match is lost. You feel humiliated. You lost just because of the serve received. Many people think it's a minor detail, but in a match, it's more important than any other element. This is one of the reasons why your whole game falls apart and nothing works out when it counts. Today, let's slowly break down every detail of the serve received. And in the next videos, we'll dive into the specifics of returning each type of serve. First, let's study what kinds of serves there are in general. There are simple serves and there are difficult serves. A simple serve is when there are no deceptive movements at the moment of contact, and we can clearly understand what kind of spin is on the ball, or if there is no spin at all. Here, we have enough time to analyze everything. A difficult serve is when the opponent uses movements that are unfamiliar to us, accompanied by distracting actions, so we don't have time to track the point of contact between the racket and the ball. For each person, the difficulty or simplicity of a serve is different and directly depends on their playing experience. If Vasia has just started playing at the table, even a simple topspin or side spin serve will be difficult for him since he doesn't yet know about spin. But for Serioja, who has been actively competing for a year, these serves will be a gift. That's why our ultimate goal is to reach a point where every single thing becomes simple. And that means consistent practice and more practice. So after you finish watching this video, go to practice, give it a real try, and then watch this video once again. You'll have a completely different understanding each time. Now we're going to simultaneously learn about spin itself and where and how to look when receiving, so you can recognize it. Let's start with topspin serves. These are the very first and most common serves among beginners. This serve is simple and is considered a flat serve, but there are a couple of things to note. Here, it depends on the angle of the racket during the serve. That is, when receiving, you watch the racket and only then make your decision. If the player holds the racket with the palm side open and facing forward, the ball will have almost no spin and will mostly have forward speed. If the player tilts the racket forward, the ball will get topspin, meaning it will fly with a slight acceleration. If they also give an extra flick at the moment of contact, the ball will spin even more and bounce off the table faster. The third option is when the player holds the racket at an angle as if making a slice. Here, the player can also push the ball so that it doesn't spin, but it will have completely different properties. One serve, 3 variations with minimal changes. That's why we always pay attention to the angle of the racket. There are 2 more parameters in this serve, speed and length. I'll break everything down in detail so it's as clear as possible. In these 2 parameters, the speed of the serve also plays a very important role, which means its energy potential. The serve can be long and fast, long and medium speed, or long and slow. In tennis slang, a dead serve is one that just drops off the racket. A serve that barely goes past the end line of the table. And a short serve under the net. There are also several variations of these, but let's not overload ourselves with that right now. Let's move on to receiving serves. The first option is a topspin serve from an open position at medium speed. This is the easiest serve to receive. The ball travels along a convenient trajectory, so you can calmly play a topspin, hit, or make a topspin shot. The second option is the same stance as for the first serve, a fast or aggressive serve. The player makes a strong pushing motion, and the ball quickly flies to the receiver's side. The trick here is that the player often serves it to the opposite corner of our position or to a weak spot. What happens then? At this moment, the player tries to react at the same speed as to a medium serve, but doesn't make it in time, and the ball either hits them or flies right past. The second scenario is that the receiver takes too long to react, which leads to a mistake or a passive return. To return this serve, you need to quickly step out with a backswing and wait a little. The ball will approach, and at that moment, you need to put your effort into the shot. At the same time, your arm should remain relaxed. If you try to meet force with force using a tense arm, the ball will bounce off and fly out uncontrollably. An easier option is to use the speed of the ball and, without putting in extra effort, direct it where you want. The third scenario is a slow serve. Usually a player rushes out and hits the ball immediately, causing it to go into the net, or in the rush, they can't judge the right height for the shot, which makes their arm tense and prevents them from handling the ball properly. For this kind of ball, you need to approach smoothly, adjust to its speed, calmly wait for it to come to you, hold the pause, and then make your shot. For more video analysis and explanations, check out the Telegram channel. The link is in the description, so be sure to subscribe. The second type of serve is when the player serves with topspin. Here, it's important to remember that the ball accelerates, and the thinner and sharper the player hits the ball, the faster the acceleration will be. Additionally, you should know that if the serve has topspin, the bounce will be higher than with a flat serve, and the highest point of the bounce will also occur later. That's why the receiver often gets the ball on the edge of their racket. Either he played too early before the ball reached its peak height, causing the ball to go into the net, or he misjudged the trajectory, so the ball bounced onto the racket. Let's break down the first type of serve from a close position, a long topspin serve at medium speed. The player closes the racket and makes a movement similar to the previous serve, but this time adds acceleration. This serve is easy to receive, but when combined with a flat serve, it causes amateurs to make mistakes. Here, the difference is literally just a couple hundredths in the speed of the incoming ball and a few centimeters in height, but that's enough to cause an error. What is important to do here? Set the correct racket angle. If with the flat serve we played more from an open position, here you need to cover the ball to neutralize the incoming spin. If you play with an open racket, the ball will either fly off the table or return to the opponent high. This serve can be played with a drive or a topspin if you are well prepared and hit at the highest point of the bounce, the fast topspin serve. In terms of execution, it's a simple serve, but it causes difficulties when receiving. Its peculiarity is that after bouncing, it accelerates quickly. Often the player tries to respond with a powerful shot or attempts a topspin and ends up hitting the edge. This happens because the player starts making a wide backswing but doesn't manage to hit the ball at its highest point, causing the ball to crash into the racket. There are two options for receiving this serve. The first and simplest is to convert the spin into speed. That is, let the ball rise and calmly play a drive in the desired direction. The second option, if you know how to control your topspin, is to play without a backswing and accelerate forward with a closed racket right on the ball. The third option is the bouncing serve, the trickiest of the topspin serves. It's also called the frog serve. The trick of this serve is that it's executed with a sharp, jerky, tangential motion and has almost no forward speed. Because of this, the ball travels slowly at first. At this moment, the receiver usually reacts to the height of the first bounce and starts positioning their racket in the same way. But what does the ball do? At the moment it bounces on the receiver's side, it suddenly accelerates and jumps higher than the initial bounce, constantly popping up onto its edge for the player. It's hard for the athlete to adapt to this serve because it's rarely used, and the brain struggles to process that it's slow at first, but after the bounce, it becomes high and fast. It's risky to receive this serve with a topspin. You need a high level of skill for that. How do you receive this serve? We understand that the player is using these serves. Right at the exact moment he decides to use it, we take half a step back from the expected bounce point and let the ball travel forward just a little bit further. After all, its highest point will be a bit farther, and that's when, during the pause, we play. This is my main serve in my arsenal, and from experience I can say that 90% of amateurs can't return this serve on the first try because they try to do a topspin as if it's a regular topspin serve, but the ball suddenly jumps up in front of them. That's why it's called a jumping serve. The next type of serve is one that imitates an angled slice. This serve is used in two cases, when a player doesn't know how to spin serves, so always pay attention to all of a player's serves. The lower the player's skill level, the weaker the spin on their serve, though that's not always the case. And intentionally, when a player does this either by combining it with a backspin serve, or when they realize the opponent simply can't handle this serve, The peculiarity of this ball is that the stroke goes under the ball, and because of this it has minimal resistance, like a ball with backspin. That's why if you just put your racket out, the ball drops. What does an amateur think at this moment? That they've been served a backspin. They try to slice the ball, but it flies high over the net, and then they stand there scratching their head, wondering what the heck just happened. This serve has a key feature. It flies lower, and the highest point here is also lower. Here, the term skimming serve is used. Visually, it looks like it sticks to the table after bouncing, and the ball drops when received, as if it came from pips out rubber. This is a pure flat serve. So if you attempt to return the shot as if it has topspin or as a flat ball with an open racket, there is a high probability the ball will fall into the net. Let's start breaking down the options. A skimming serve at medium speed. A simple no-spin serve with a slight push from underneath the ball. It's hardest to put power and spin into this serve since it has almost no energy. This serve can be received in several ways. With a drive, you need to lower your arm more than usual. The racket is in an open position, and at the highest point, you make a stroke with a slight brushing motion. We need to play not purely flat, but rather catch the ball on the racket and spin it from the middle, not from the top of the ball. It's the same with topspin. Slightly open the racket, start moving into the ball, catch it at the highest point, and accelerate your forearm, brushing the ball with your wrist. The third option is a slice. Here, the slice is performed as a push. We set a slightly sharp angle, pushing the ball forward a bit. If you still want to give it backspin, you can do it like with a topspin. Meet the ball at the right angle and brush along the bottom part of the ball. A fast skimming serve. This one is more difficult. There is less time to react and get into position. In this situation, you need to react with speed and lower your stance, since this specific serve has the flattest trajectory and applies increased pressure on you. We let the ball go a little past the edge of the table, allow it to travel forward a bit, and at the exact moment when its speed starts to drop, we apply a heavy topspin to the ball or perform a push cut one step away from the table. And of course, the most annoying serve to return is the long skimming, slow, or as it is sometimes called, the dead serve. It travels slowly, bounces low off the table, and has almost no energy, causing the ball to drop down immediately after the bounce. Amateurs can't judge the speed, so they instinctively try to slice it, sending the ball high into the air. What should you do when receiving this serve? Since this serve slows down, you need to catch the ball at its highest point on the table and start moving your feet forward toward the ball. We need to catch this ball, extend our movement together with our legs, and add topspin to the ball, or the simplest option is to make a push cut at the highest point of the ball's bounce. And now, the promised bonus. If we receive the serve using the methods we've discussed, but the opponent is ready to counterattack from all sides, we can throw them off with an unconventional return, a side spin cut. A flat ball has one drawback. During a pause, you can give the ball any kind of spin. So what do? As the ball reaches its highest point, we move towards it, turn our wrist sideways, and with a gentle motion hit the side of the ball. This throws many people off their game. Make use of it. This was a brief overview of how to receive long topspin serves and their variations. In this video, we only covered long serves from the right side. We still have short serves left, which we will study together later. Those have their own specifics as well. Thank you for watching this video until the end. Subscribe to our Telegram channel, where you can ask any questions you might be interested in. YouTube channel, be sure to give a thumbs up and write in the comments which serve is the hardest for you to receive. This was Ivan Tomachov with you. See you next time.